Hello everyone, it's a very early Saturday morning and I've come to my local park to walk my sister's dog because he had a sleepover last night, which is always good. And I wanted to talk about being the child of an alcoholic and what that means to people in their adult life. So many people don't really identify or even think that the fact they live with a drinker has impacted on their life. And I haven't really met very many people where that's the case. And it's really interesting because once they do realise, they start piecing bits of the puzzle together and things start to make sense. And that's, I guess, kind of how it happened for me. I started having problems in my relationships, in my friendships, and I decided that I needed to do something about it because I was fed up of being angry. I was fed up of not having the sort of relationships and not having friends and not having people that like me, or just always having disagreements with people, and because of my opinionated nature. And so I think once I decided to go to therapy, that's really the beginning of my journey, and where I started to realise how all the things that I'd experienced have been impacting, and kind of not making a justification for my actions, because I totally take responsibility for that, but it gave me an explanation, gave me answers. It's a bit like when someone's being diagnosed with something and they want a diagnosis because they want that label, because it kind of just helps them make sense of things. It was a bit like that. And so the more I did it, the more I realised that, understanding the dynamics in the family home, being a rescuer, persecutor or victim, and everyone fights for the victim position. And I think that really resonated with me. I was often in the persecutor position, I think, and this, funnily enough, continues into my adult life. It's not just something that, stops once you've had some therapy, or obviously it improves over time, but you still have times where you behave that way. And often I think it's where we can give people a hard time about stuff when they already know that stuff themselves, and it's not really, I don't know, I think it's because we want people sometimes to feel sorry for us, how bad our life is, all of that kind of thing, which is the victim place. I just need to check my dog's with me. I keep walking away. I don't know if you can see him. I'll turn it around. There he is, in the far distance. Oops. Bit of a soggy dog. So let me explain a bit better. The persecutor is usually the person that will, like I say, give you a hard time about something. Why did you do that? I told you. There's just tons of it. And the rescuer is the person that wants to do exactly that, rescue people. So often you might find yourself leaping into somebody's defence or rescuing them, doing stuff for them when they can quite easily do it themselves. And sometimes that can turn into being a martyr, because you are always the one that helps out, you're always the one that saves the day, which isn't really healthy either. And then the victims, like, poor me, look at the struggles and the difficulties I'm going through. And so you kind of go in this triangle and you go round and you move from one position to the other. And this can happen in a short space of time, to be honest, in an interaction. It's not, necessarily something that takes, days, weeks, months or whatever. So when with the therapy, I started realising more about my characteristics and how it linked to my present day. So a lot of my anger was obviously towards my mum for not protecting me, and towards my dad for his behaviour. And then that anger then just, I took it out on other people. So it wasn't really fair, and it wasn't really anger at them. It was anger at my mum and dad, but it just came out towards other people. I was really fearful of authority figures and people in charge, and I would always follow the rules because my dad was really strict. So I think you either follow the rules or you completely go against them. And my sister was the opposite to me, so she would always challenge the rules, and rules are meant to be broken, whereas I was one for abiding by the rules. So these are sort of typical characteristics, and obviously everybody's different, so you're not going to have all the characteristics of a child of an alcoholic. You'll just maybe have some of them. I did isolate myself quite a lot because I found the environment really difficult to handle, and I also felt very disconnected and misunderstood. And so no matter how hard I tried, whether I was acting out to get attention, I still never really felt like anyone got me. And that was really hard because I wanted my dad to be there for me, and he wasn't. And my mum, we just really weren't on the same wavelength. And I don't blame her for that. It's just, that's how it was. And if you're a child and you've only got those two people, and those two people aren't providing what you need, that makes life really difficult. And so what else did I experience? Loneliness. That's kind of connected with the, feeling of disconnection. Just feeling on edge all the time, and I used to feel really tense. And even now, if I'm in a situation which is unknown to me, or I'm a bit anxious, I find myself tensing up my body, and then I catch myself doing it, and then I relax. It's just that apprehension of the unknown and things like that, which is obviously connected with anxiety. So they're just some of the things. I don't want to keep going on, so I'll probably do some other videos around this, but maybe you can relate to them. I'd love to hear from you, your experience, because what I've realised is everybody's experience is so different, even though we do have similar characteristics. So how you experience loneliness and how I did are going to be very different. What did that mean to you? What did you do? I used to spend a lot of time on my computer and, doing creative things and recording the top 40 hits on a Sunday, stuff like that, just to keep me occupied. So how did it impact you as a child, and what impact do you see now as an adult? So I'd love to hear from you. Have a good weekend.